Thanks for staying tuned. Welcome back to the Verdict Studios here on Channels Television. During the break, of course, you heard the latest in the news. And, of course, Poll Stream with that brand new feature, the hologram. Tonight, it was Makwe Ogun Yusuf that was on it, answering questions from viewers about preparations for tomorrow. Of course, we've had some really sad news in the intervening period between when we were last year and now, which is the death of at least 66 people in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State earlier on today. The details are still not too clear as to whether this is election-related violence or not, but it is said to be unknown gunmen who perpetrated this. Amongst the dead, of course, are said to be 22 women and 12 children. But for a very short while, I mean, in the course of our discussions, we have talked about the inclusion by INEC of all types of various groups in terms of inclusiveness in the electoral process. Now, one of those groups is the visually impaired, which is why we had the demonstration about how Braille is used for this voting process this time around. And I guess tomorrow will be the real test of the pudding. Mr. Tunde Mohammed, the chairman of the Nigeria Association of the Blind, Lagos State Chapter, joins us here in the Verdict Studios. Mr. Mohammed, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Have you been put through this process? What do you know about this inclusion of your group in this electoral process?
Yeah, we know that it exists. That's on paper. We've been told about it, but none of my members have seen the sample, of course, apart from the people that produced those items. I know about 2 weeks ago, we had a training with INEC. We had the conference with INEC in conjunction with CCD, the Center for Citizens with Disability. And I personally requested that there should be a form of training before the will lead into election.
Right.
But, of course, no training.
So tomorrow now,
you're going to be seeing it for the
very first time.
For the first time.
Seeing it for the first time. Hopefully, they bring to my polling units.
But if you are the chairman of the association in Lagos, and you are seeing it, you're going to be seeing it for the first time tomorrow, what have your members been telling you in their own areas?
Yeah, they don't know anything about it. They've been hearing and they've been asking, what does it look like? What are they going to do? And interested to know that just yesterday, about noon, then when I was called by INEC asking to forward the various centers of my members to them so that they can carry those materials there. And I was like, you carry materials there? Without them even knowing what those things are meant to be like and all that, no training. It's not like, it's not for a certain person that will have a glance at a page or something and you have enough information. For instance, I'm in this room now. I don't know what shirt to wear. I don't know the color. Yeah, I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just saying the reality of it.
Yes, that is that you would, it needs catching up to.
Exactly.
It is your right to vote.
Are in this room. But if I come and someone say, okay, the chair you're going to be sitting is red, is blue, I have a creation, I have an idea of what it is already. You have 15 tables in this room, okay? I know what the room is like. So when you give me that thing now, okay, the broom for this party, the hand or whatever symbol they have, how am I able to know where to put my finger?
Did they give you any reason why there has been no sensitization beyond what we see in the public service announcements? When you reached out to them, did they give you any reason why it's this slow?
Yeah, I think that they were late in taking those things for production. Maybe they felt that something they could do in one day. I think that thing went out about a week ago, and they had to collect those materials yesterday so they can take to Abuja before they start distributing to various centers. Yes, those things were they were produced. But then, before you do, it's not like going to a photocopy machine before you produce something in Braille. It's going to take time. And they did not, factor in that. They did not think of that. So they are slow. Yes, they tried to include, they tried to do everything. They did a lot of telling us about it. But where are the materials? What do they look like? We don't know.
If you get there tomorrow and there are none of this Braille paper that you're talking about,
yes,
what would be your option? How was the voting done before?
Yes, I had to do how I did it in 2015, 2011, that's depending on my guide, a friend or whoever I go there with. So that's what will be happening to me.
So
and
you
to
will
a lot
use
of
the
other.
normal ballot paper?
Yes, I'll use the
those
normal.
people will then assist you?
Yes, I think it's even the normal ballot paper for the blind also. But what they have is a guide where they place it on ballot paper, and you'll be able to trace where you want to, put your finger, where you want to vote, which I think is safe, because I could go there with someone that is even closest to me, and his or her own choice is different from my choice.
Yeah.
But I could have voted independently. But now I had to depend on somebody to vote for me. And if I'm not lucky, she puts my finger where she wants me to vote or he wants me to vote.
So if you could speak to the chairman of INEC this evening about this, what would you tell him?
That there are errors in this one, but let's work closely with Nigerian Association of the Blind in various states, so that the gubernatorial elections will be taken care of, that people will be better prepared, people will be, they'll be enlightened on how those materials will be used, so that what is going to happen tomorrow will not be repeating itself come 2nd of March.
Now, is there any way that your members, is there any way of getting your members to appreciate the fact that, look, we're going to do this the way we did in 2015, like you just pointed out, and 2011, ahead of tomorrow, so that they don't get to the booths or to the center tomorrow and then be confused?
Yeah. As I'm living here, I'm going to be talking to the state secretary to put messages, SMS across to my members in the state, and WhatsApp messages that some of them are likely not to get the Braille guide, so they should go with someone that they trust to cast their vote. It's better to go and cast their vote than just sitting down at home because those materials are not there.
I'm sorry, I mean, you're here in Lagos. Is this a national problem? What are you hearing from
the other chapters?
The other chapters?
To be sincere, I've not heard anything from the other chapter, but if it's like this in Lagos, then you can be rest assured that it's not better in another part of the country.
What has been your experience with PVC collection? Because that's the first thing. Even before you get to the papers where you are going to be voting, you also have to have your PVC.
Yeah, I don't think most of my members have had it difficult, collecting their PVC. I collected my PVC long time ago. I think before 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, I was staying in Magodo Estate, and I had to go to Lower, I had to go and collect, but that wasn't much of a problem. And Nigeria, oh, he's a blind person, let's help him. I was lucky, I was assisted, and I think that has happened to a lot of our members too. They do give some form of preference when it comes to things like that. They don't put you on the queue, so you are able to get attended to in good time.
How about your movement? Your movement, Ijoma and Nelta and I have been hearing from people when they say, oh, look, my polling unit is 2 kilometers from my house.
Yeah.
And now you talked of Olowora and Magodo.
Yeah.
For those who are familiar with those vicinities, those are not exactly next door to each other. So how has that been? How do you work through that?
It's even worse now. Okay, I said I registered in Magodo, then I was living in Magodo. I moved out of Magodo Estate, that's in the Koshofe local government, moved to Shangisha. So I could walk. So I trekked from Shangisha into Magodo Estate 2015 to go and vote. Then, of course, after doing my accreditation, I stayed with my cousins and other inside Magodo Estate before casting my vote.
To vote.
Then I went back home. I trekked. Now I've moved out of that vicinity. So if I have to vote tomorrow, if I must vote tomorrow, this night, I won't go to my bed. I have to go to Magodo to pass the night. So it's either I go to stay with my cousin or I get to look for a hotel to stay so that I can vote. And I'm not too sure I want to do that.
But generally, what's the mood of your members like as regards this election?
Very, very lively, very, very interesting. We have a platform and where we interact seriously. Okay, when INEC to someone, then, I've been away for some time, so I couldn't follow up. Then when INEC asked that we should send our details, some people called me to say, why would it be this person that is asking for that information? That person is for that particular party. This, and I said,
you have that exchange.
It's serious one. And the guy was ranting. I said, okay, man, take it easy. I'm going to make my inquiry. And I found out that actually this thing came from INEC, truly. And that one of the, so because INEC asked for that thing, and because it came from a particular person that they knew belongs to one party, some of them didn't want to give that information. They felt that, oh, our PVC, maybe they want to go and...
So the same sense of
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's it, the same sense of mistrust and so on with other groups.
Other group, yeah, it's the same thing. The only difference, of course, that we cannot see to paint. But you know that thing, the same feeling, the same, you know, some people don't even have interest to go and vote. Of course, I've been trying to encourage people that go and do that. Since I started voting in 2011, I've really enjoyed voting, and it will be very painful if I can't do it tomorrow. So
you said you don't have any intention of going to your cousins or your relatives. So does that mean you're not voting? Or
I've not told them. I'm not telling any of them in the estate I'm coming. But of course,
if they are watching this, they are now hearing.
I can
so they can prepare ahead.
I can decide to go back home now, change my dress, and go back to Ramagodan, and you know, pass the night, and so I can vote tomorrow.
Wow. Let us thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Mohammed. Except you have other questions. I do have a final question though, yes, before we let you go. Yeah. I'm looking at you ahead of tomorrow and your members, and I can guess or infer that there must be thousands when we look at it nationally as a group. With the millions, yeah, with the absence of these materials, or maybe the materials are there, but knowing how to use them ahead of tomorrow. You are in Lagos, so maybe perhaps you have a few choices like you've enumerated. But for all these others who are in outlying areas, sometimes conflict zones and so on, what do you see happening with them tomorrow?
I think some of them would like to stay back. Of course, conflict areas. You wouldn't want to go and add to your disability that you have incurred. The one you have is enough a problem for you, take less of going to add another. So I think some of them might not want to go out, you know, to vote. But some people wouldn't mind. Most of my members wouldn't even mind, you know, to endanger their lives to go and, you know, carry out their civic duty. But the lack of material will not be a hindrance to them voting tomorrow. It won't be. The only thing that they will go back to the old system to vote. Okay. Mind you, it's not every blind person that is literate. So even this big guy I'm talking about, it's not even for every blind person. Even if it's available, even if we have 10 million of it available, it's not all of them that will still use. Some people will still depend on certain assistance, that somebody coming to help them. And that is why we told INEC that it's not enough to bring braille materials. There are some people that cannot read and write. They can only listen to this. So all these things should be in various languages. All right, then.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Mohammed, for being our guest this evening. Mr. Mohammed is the chairman of the Nigerian Association of the Blind here in Lagos. Let's go quickly to Katsina State, where I understand Ibrahim Adra, our correspondent, who is following President Muhammadu Buhari, is standing by to brief us. Ibrahim, what's the situation? I presume, of course, I can see you now. It's slightly dark. Is that the president's residence? What's going on? Ibrahim, you are on the air. I can see you still asking if indeed you are on. You're on the air. Could you perhaps give us an update if you can hear us?
Well, thank you very much. Let me state this up front that I've been around some places in Katsina State, and it is interesting to know how many people are watching. Okay. Sorry, you probably need to call back. I can't hear you at the moment.
Go on. We can hear you. We can hear you, so please go on. Okay, there seems to be some difficulty. Again, almost the same kind of difficulty we had with the Adamawa connection. some of this, of course, will take some getting used to. All this is fairly new. Ijoma, perhaps you want to update us on the tweets?
Yeah, let me just update you on what's going on social media, tying into what we were saying about distance to polling units, etc. And so this viewer says, I checked my polling unit, and it is confusing to me because there was no secondary school where they had said the secondary school will be. Please, I need clarification. So that's one person who's a little bit confused right now. And another one says, hashtag, I will cast my vote in good faith. Every vote counts. Not voting is also a form of voting because you take a decision yourself. And then the last one, talking about the unfortunate situation that we heard of in Kaduna, which we already know. And this other viewer wants INEC to improve on the system because they feel that the electoral process is still evolving and that listening to us tonight, they're hearing the same old issues that have been coming up every 4 years. Yeah.
I think we'll take a break at this point. We'll take a break and then come back with some of our other guests. Start off, and of course, Shewan Kibaloe, who we hope will also have some data for us in the course of the program. But all that should happen after this break, so please stay with us.